Alright, let's go.
Well, it's 2:30. You guys are on time, so let's go ahead and get started. Quick introduction. My name is Steve Carroll, Carroll Property Inspections, and my cohort in crime.
I'm Craig Funabashi, property professor.
Yeah, okay.
Today's introductory course into some of the other presentations that we've created. It's what everyone needs to know about home inspections. It's going to take us through general information about home inspection history, also how it relates to you guys in your transactions and so forth, and a little about the law, and then about the transaction as well, specifically about the home inspections. So, what is a home inspection? Home inspections are governed by California Business and Professionals Code 7195, and actually reads, I'm going to paraphrase, a home inspection is a non-invasive physical examination performed for a fee on real property of 1 to 4 units. If you get into a 5-unit apartment building or a complex, then it becomes a commercial inspection. It actually doesn't fall under this law. So 1 to 4 units, and it's designed to identify material defects. We're going to mention material defects several times in this presentation, and we're going to define what that is. So when we actually discuss it, that's what we do, is we look for material defects. Okay. Pre-1984 real estate transactions, it was basically a buyer beware. There wasn't a lot to do with disclosures or anything of that nature. You're only required to disclose known defects. And then lastly, only 1 to 2% of the homes were actually inspected. So buyers bought the house and kind of whatever it was, and that was it. That all changed around, and a lot of what you guys, the TDS, your AVID form, what we do, all was related to Easton versus Strassburger, which is upheld by the appellate court in '84. And that case was revolving, I think it was in Northern California. A lady purchased a house, hillside location. Well, the seller had known about some prior slides, soil movement. They had done some repairs on it. Well, nothing was disclosed. She moved in the house within a year, soil kept moving, house is uninhabitable. So she took the seller and both agents to court. She won. Both the attorneys for the agents went to appeals court. Appeals upheld the decision. So it ended up being that the appellate court said that realtors have an affirmative duty to conduct a reasonably competent and diligent inspection of the property for the potential purchasers, for all material facts, material affecting value and desirability. So you guys are looking for those two main things, is value and desirability, which is different from what we're looking at, which, like I said, we're going to discuss in a little bit further. Further implications from the Easton decision is you guys need to conduct more than a casual investigation. You guys specifically need to look for red flags. And one quote that doesn't apply to commercial properties: it doesn't require an expert to explain to the jury the relationship in between uneven floors and the possibility of unstable soil. So if we're over in Portuguese Bend and there's a crack in the slab, you guys don't need to determine why that crack is there. If that crack's getting larger, it's your job to note that it's there to get that information to the client. So you guys don't need to be experts. You're just looking as, per se, generalists for your specific profession, where we will be responsible beyond that for our training and expertise. In 1985, Senate Bill 986 required disclosure of alterations and additions done without permits. So if you see a house and it's got 2 stories and the tax record says it's only 1, well, they need to disclose if they did that without permits. And next year, 86, Senate Bill 1406 led to Civil Code 1102, which is the transfer disclosure statement, and it also governs the AVID form that you guys are specifically responsible to fill out. A substituted disclosure can be made by an engineer, a surveyor, geologist, pest control operator, contractor, and we fall under other experts. And as far as the wording on that goes, you had mentioned something last time about the substituted disclosure, Craig?
Yeah, and it may just, it may not seem like a big deal, but the wording is what's so critical to understand. Substituted disclosure is when an expert comes in, makes a statement on a condition, and that is the final opinion on that statement. What we do as inspectors, and even you as realtors should be doing, is supplemental, okay? The difference is that you are adding to, based on your requirements in the transaction, you're adding to disclosure that should be done by an appropriate person. What it says, it boils it down and says the seller can't just go, well, you know, I don't have to tell the buyer about this. Their inspector is supposed to do that, right? No, it still holds the seller responsible to disclosing what they know as well. So this is an important term that keeps sellers of property from not disclosing things that they're aware of. So substituted versus supplemental is a key point to understand.
Quite different. Home inspection legislation, there's been a number of bills been introduced that would have required, you know, different types of laws related to home inspections that had been submitted but never passed. And you can see all the years, 87, 94, 99, 02, 03, 04, 05. So basically, you know, the laws that govern us, we're going to discuss those a little bit further, but a lot of legislation hasn't passed related to home inspections specifically. What we do, when we're doing home inspection, we're like, it's kind of like a physical checkup. If you go see your doctor for your annual physical, they're going to just do a roundabout, you know, just looking at your blood pressure, looking at your blood, you know, making sure your heart's okay. And if there's any issues that come up, just like your doctor may prescribe, you know, go on some medication. Also, you know, like my grandma's got a new hip, may require that. Further evaluation from a specialist. Your heart doesn't sound right, they're going to send you off to the cardiologist. If a furnace doesn't turn on, I'm not going to diagnose why a furnace doesn't come on. It could be the thermostat, it could be other components of the heater. I'm going to recommend a heating contractor diagnose exactly what's going on with that. And once again, we're just like a generalist. We're not a specific expert in any given field. As far as just like any other doctor, there's going to be differences with home inspectors related to training, knowledge, experience, professionalism, and of course customer service. So each individual home inspector, you know, it's going to be different for a number of different reasons. Some important questions to ask home inspectors. First off, experience. How long have they been in business? How many inspections have they done? Have they worked in this area? Have they been formally trained? Do they have any professional memberships, designations? Right now, with California law, my wife can call herself a home inspector, and that is totally legal. Does that make her qualified? Probably not. A plumber who is excellent at looking at plumbing systems can call himself a home inspector. Does that mean he knows what to look at as far as roofs, electrical, other components like that? Maybe, maybe not. So once again, doing your homework with inspectors to look at all those things. And of course, references is always a good point to bring up. This is an important part that I really want you guys to focus on. Home inspector, are they insured? We're not required to be insured. I would think that most good inspectors probably have insurance because two types of insurance. One is errors and omissions. Errors and omissions is I'm doing the house and I forget to take a look at the water heater. The water heater is almost shot and you know it's just corroded, it should be replaced soon, and I don't call that out. That's why I have insurance, in case I overlook something that I should have been competent enough to see. I'd rather overlook I'm going to focus on the major systems, so if I overlook a doorknob that's loose, I've got no problem replacing that compared to a foundation or some other type of a major issue. A furnace in the attic that you know, is one of the ones that used to, you know, was made by Consolidated or whatever. You know, I should be competent enough to take a look at those and know what's going on. Another type of insurance is general liability or workers' comp. And in your car form, paragraph